Last breath of a warrior, Zara stood tall, but her hands were tied in chains. Her dark eyes stared straight ahead as the alien guards pushed her forward. Her long battle armor was torn, her body bruised, but her pride was untouched. She was a warrior. Of the Drexen race, feared by many, respected by few. Today, she was to be executed in front of thousands. The people shouted and cheered, wanting to see her fall. They called her a traitor, a killer, and a monster. But Zara knew the truth. She had done nothing wrong. She had only followed orders during the last war. When the war ended, her leaders betrayed her. They needed someone to blame, and they chose her. The trial lasted only 10 minutes. No one listened to her side. No one cared. And now, here she was, walking to her death under the hot suns of Dronek Prime. As she reached the center of the grand platform, the executioner raised a long blade. The crowd went quiet. Everyone wanted to hear the sound of the blade falling, slicing the air, ending her life. Zara looked up at the sky. She didn't believe in gods, but if they existed, she hoped they would see her truth. Then suddenly, a human voice shouted, "Stop!" Everyone turned. A man stepped onto the platform, wearing a dusty soldier's jacket with the Earth emblem. He had short brown hair, tired eyes, and a strong voice. His name was Alex, a former human soldier. He walked quickly, standing between Zara and the blade. "What is this?" The Drexen commander growled. "Move away, human." "No," Alex sighed. "You're making a mistake. She's not guilty." The crowd gasped. The guards raised their weapons. But Alex didn't move. Zara blinked, confused. Why would a human do this? The Drexens and humans were not allies. They barely trusted each other. She had never seen this man before. Yet here he was, risking everything. The Drexen commander laughed. Coldly. "You defend a criminal? Then you are a traitor too?" Alex looked directly at him. "If telling the truth makes me a traitor, then so be it. But I won't watch an innocent person die." The crowd began to yell again, angry now. Some threw things. The guards grabbed Alex and pushed him down. Zara watched in silence. Something about this man stirred something deep in her. Was it hope? She had not felt that in a long time. "Take him away," the commander ordered. "He will be judged for treason." Alex and Zara were dragged into the prison halls beneath the platform. They were thrown into the same dark cell, locked behind thick bars. Zara finally spoke. Her voice was calm but sharp. "Why did you do that?" Alex sat up, wiping blood from his lip. "Because you don't deserve to die. You don't even know me. I don't need to. I've seen this before. Someone powerful needs a scapegoat. You're just easy to blame." Zara looked at him closely. "You've lost everything." "Now, I know," Alex said softly. They sat in silence. The sounds of the angry crowd still echoed above them. Zara's heart was heavy. Not just because she had been betrayed, but because someone she didn't even know had risked his life for her. "You are strange," she said. Alex gave a small smile. "So I've been told." A long pause followed. Zara leaned back against the cold wall. "They will execute us both," Alex nodded. "Yes, unless we find a way out," Zara frowned. "There is no way out of here." "Maybe, but maybe there is. And if we do escape, you'll owe me a story." Zara almost smiled. She didn't trust him, not yet. But something inside her wanted to believe. Maybe not all humans were the same. Maybe this one was different. Outside the prison, news of the human soldier's actions spread fast. Some called him a fool. Others called him brave. But in the high halls of power, angry voices filled the air. One human had dared to go against both sides. And now, everything was about to change. In the dark cell below, Zara and Alex sat as two strangers. But soon, they would become much more. A warrior and a human, both betrayed, both hunted, and both about to begin a journey that would shake the galaxy. Their story was only beginning. Asterisk escape at all costs. The silence in the prison cell was broken by the soft drip of water. Alex sat against the wall, staring at the ceiling, while Zara remained still like a statue. Her eyes were sharp, always watching. She had lived through battles and betrayals, but never something like this. Never a human sitting beside her, sharing her fate. Zara finally said, "You know they will torture you." "Just for speaking," Alex shrugged. "I've been through worse." She looked at him closely. "You don't act like a soldier." "I stopped being a soldier the day I started asking questions." Zara's lips tightened. She respected warriors who followed honor, not blind orders. Maybe this human wasn't foolish after all. Still, trust didn't come easy. A guard's footsteps echoed down the hallway. The cell door creaked open slightly as a tray of stale food was pushed in. The guard didn't speak. He only laughed and walked away. Zara looked at the tray but didn't touch it. Suddenly, Alex leaned forward and picked up the tray. He flipped it over carefully. A small, flat metal piece fell out. It was hidden under the bread. Zara's eyes narrowed. "You planned this?" "No," he said. "But I have friends who hate this prison even more than we do." He slid the metal piece into the lock. His hands moved fast but quiet. Zara stayed alert. At any second, a patrol could pass. Click. The door didn't open, but the lock gave a tiny shift. "It's not enough," he whispered. "We'll need time." Zara moved beside him. "I can break the hinge, but we only get one chance." The two worked together, using strength and silence. After 20 minutes of pressure, the door creaked open. It didn't make much noise, but every sound felt loud. "Now," Alex said, grabbing the tray and a broken pipe as weapons. They slipped into the hallway, stepping carefully. Most of the guards were upstairs. The lower levels were cold and empty. Zara moved like a shadow. Alex followed, trusting her instincts. Suddenly, a shout came from above. "They've escaped." Alarm screamed through the prison. Red lights flashed. Doors locked. Sirens howled like dying beasts. Zara grabbed Alex's arm. "This way." They ran through a tunnel, ducking under metal pipes. Behind them, footsteps thundered. Shouts grew louder. Zara led him down a hidden path she had seen during her arrival days ago. But soon, they reached a dead end. "Blocked," Alex said. "We're trapped." Zara's eyes moved fast. Then she spotted a loose vent cover high on the wall. "Climb," she said. "I'll lift you." Alex didn't argue. He stepped onto her back, pulling himself up and pushing the cover open. He reached down and grabbed Zara's arm. She jumped, and he pulled her inside just before the guards turned the corner. Inside the vent, it was dark and narrow. They crawled forward, hearing the soldiers search the halls below. One wrong sound and it would all be over. "Why are you really helping me?" Zara whispered. Alex paused, breathing hard. "Because I saw myself in you. Left behind, blamed, forgotten." Zara said nothing. But something shifted inside her. She had never met anyone who understood that kind of pain. After what felt like hours, they dropped out of the vent and into an old supply room. Alex kicked the rusted door open. Outside was the night sky, dark and wide. No guards, no shouts. For the first time, they were free. Zara looked around. "We need to leave the city. They'll search every building." "I know a way out," Alex said. "But we need help." "Your friends?" "They won't trust you." "Then let me speak," she said. "I'll make them listen." They ran into the shadows, disappearing into the streets. Behind them, the prison shook with anger. The leaders of both sides demanded their capture. Bounties were set. Posters with Alex's face appeared across screens. He was no longer a soldier. He was a traitor. And Zara? Her name became a curse. They said she had used the human to escape, that she had seduced him, lied to him, tricked him. But those who truly watched, who saw the footage smuggled from the prison, began to question, was she really guilty? Or was something deeper going on? As they crossed into the outer zones of the city, hiding under cover, Alex turned to her. Still think you don't owe me a story? Zara gave a small smile. When we're safe, I'll tell you everything. Their journey had just begun. Hunted by all, trusted by none, a human and an alien warrior walked together into the unknown, not as enemies, not as prisoners, but as something new. Asterisk enemies to allies. The desert wind was dry and full of dust. It scratched their faces and made each breath harder. Alex and Zara had been walking for hours, far from the city. The stars above them were cold and bright. There was no road, no light, and no safe place to rest. But they kept going, one step at a time. Zara's legs ached, but she didn't complain. She had walked through worse places in worse conditions. Still, every few steps she looked at Alex. He wasn't like the other humans she had seen, loud, proud, or cruel. He walked in silence, his eyes focused ahead, his hands ready for danger. At last, they found an old building made of stone and steel, half buried in the sand. It looked abandoned. Zara checked it carefully before letting Alex inside. The air was stale, but it was dry and quiet. They sat on the ground, sharing a small energy bar Alex had saved. Zara took a bite and said nothing. But inside, her thoughts were loud. She had been trained to hate humans. Her people had always told her that humans could not be trusted. They lie, they betray. They only care about themselves, but this one was different. You should have left me, she finally said. Back in the prison, Alex looked at her. You would have done the same. No, Zara answered. I wouldn't have. Then I guess I'm just stupid. Zara almost smiled. Or something else. She leaned back against the wall. You asked for my story. I'll give you part of it. Alex listened as she spoke for the first time about the real reason she had been arrested. She had refused to follow an order to destroy a village filled with civilians. Her commander ordered it anyway, and she fought back. She was punished, then framed as a traitor. I was told I had no honor, she said, but I know what I did was right. Alex nodded. Sounds familiar. He told her about his time as a soldier. He had seen innocent people hurt for the sake of politics. He had spoken out. They had silenced him. That's why he had left the army. That's why he understood her. They sat in silence again, but this time it was not empty. Something had changed. They were not just two fugitives running from the law. They were two souls who had been crushed by the same kind of system. Zara looked at him. You risked everything to stop my execution, but you didn't even know me. Alex replied, I didn't have to know you. I only had to see the truth. The wind howled outside, but the space inside the shelter felt warm. Trust was beginning to grow, one word at a time. The next morning they left early. The sun rose like fire over the desert. They had one goal now, find someone who could help them clear their names. Zara knew of a rebel camp far from the city. The rebels were aliens, outcasts like her. She wasn't sure they would help, but it was the only place left to go. As they walked, Alex trained his eyes on the horizon. Do they know you? They know my name, she said. But they may not know the truth. If they don't believe you, then we keep running. It wasn't the answer he wanted, but he accepted it. By nightfall, they reached a canyon with sharp rocks and narrow paths. A small drone flew near them, scanning the area. Zara threw a stone and the drone crashed. They're watching, she whispered. We need to move fast." Finally, they arrived at the edge of the rebel camp. A guard stopped them, pointing a weapon at Alex. "Human?" "Here," the guard shouted. "He's the one from the execution ground." Alex raised his hands, but Zara stepped in front of him. "He's with me," she said. "He saved my life." The guard didn't lower the weapon. More rebels came. Tension rose. It felt like another battle was about to begin. One of the older rebels stepped forward. He had deep scars and tired eyes. "Zara of Drexen," he said. "You were supposed to be dead," they tried, she said. "But I'm still standing." She told them everything. About the lie. About her escape. About Alex's help. Her words were strong and clear. She didn't beg. She spoke with pride. Some of the rebels listened. Some looked doubtful. And some looked angry. Then the elder turned to Alex. "Why would a human risk his life for an alien?" Alex answered, "Because someone had to do the right thing." The elder watched him in silence. Then he gave a short nod. "They stay the night. But tomorrow we decide." Zara and Alex followed the rebels into the camp. They were not welcome, not yet, but they were alive. And together. For now, that was enough. Betrayal and revelation. The rebel camp was quiet, but the silence was not peaceful. It felt like the air was watching them. Zara could feel the stares, the doubts, the anger. Every step she took was followed by eyes that didn't trust her. Every time Alex spoke, the whispers grew louder. They were allowed to sleep in a cold tent with one thin blanket and no fire. Outside, guards walked with heavy boots and sharp weapons. Zara sat with her back against the wall, awake, alert. She didn't sleep. Neither did Alex. "You ever feel like a ghost in your own life?" he asked softly. Zara turned to him. "I feel like a shadow, once a warrior, now a traitor." He smiled without joy. "Then we're both shadows." The next morning, they were brought to the rebel council. 5 elders sat at a round table made from broken ship parts. The leader, a gray-scaled alien named Varn, spoke first. "We've heard your story, Zara, but words are not enough." "I can prove it," she said. "Give me time." Varn's eyes narrowed. "Time is something we don't have." Another council member stood. Her name was Commander Terry. Zara knew her once a friend during training, now a cold stranger. "You were supposed to die," Terry said. "Many believed you already did. Then you appear with a human and expect loyalty?" "I didn't ask for loyalty," Zara replied. "I asked for justice." The council argued. Some believed her. Some wanted her gone. Finally, they said she could stay one more day, but Alex would be locked up. Zara stood in protest. "He saved me." He stood against his own people. "He is still human," Terry said sharply. "He is not one of us." Alex didn't fight. It's fine," he said. "Let them do what they must." He was taken to a holding room deep inside the camp. Zara watched him go, feeling something she hadn't felt in years: fear. Not for herself, but for him. That night, she moved through the shadows, quietly entering the command room. She had to find something, anything that could prove her innocence. Inside, she searched the old data tablets. Most were blank or broken, but one flickered to life. A hidden file opened. What she saw made her blood run cold. It was a report written by Tehri. It showed orders to blame Zara for the civilian deaths. It listed lies, fake witnesses, and even plans to send her to public execution to keep peace. Tehri had been working with the High Council. They had planned it all. Zara stepped back, her hands shaking. She copied the file and slipped away into the night. But as she turned a corner, 2 guards stopped her. They searched her quickly and found the device. She was dragged before Tehri, who smiled without kindness. You always were too curious, Terry said. I should have finished you myself. Zara stood firm. The truth is out now. You won't silence me. Terry raised her hand, but before she could give the order, a loud noise came from the camp speaker system. Zara's voice, clear and strong, played for all to hear. The copied file had already been uploaded. Rebels gathered around the main screen. They listened to the orders. The lies. The plan to destroy Zara. The camp was in shock. Some shouted. Some cried. Some turned their weapons on Terry. Varn appeared, his voice like thunder. Is this true? Terry tried to speak, but her lies were finished. The rebels arrested her, dragging her away. Zara rushed to the holding room. Alex was sitting in the corner, looking tired. They're letting us go, she said. He raised his eyebrows. You found proof? Yes, and now they believe. Yes, he stood slowly. Good, because I was getting tired of eating sand. Zara actually laughed, a small sound, but real. You joke too much. It keeps me alive. They stepped into the light of the new day. The rebels watched them now with different eyes, curious, maybe even respectful. Varn met them outside the tent. You have friends here now, Zara, and you, human Alex. We owe you both. But Zara knew this was not the end. They will come for us, she said. The ones who wanted me dead, they won't stop. Varn nodded. Then we'll be ready. Alex looked at the sky. Where? Not running anymore, are we? No, Zara said. We fight. And for the first time since they met, they stood not as strangers, not as survivors, but as allies. Asterisk battle for truth, the sky was dark. Not because it was night, but because something heavy was coming. Black clouds rolled over the rebel camp. Like a warning. Zara stood on the edge of the cliff, staring into the wind. She had been hunted, betrayed, and almost killed, but today she was preparing for war. Behind her, the camp buzzed with noise. Aliens repaired weapons, checked defenses, and readied for battle. The truth about Terry's betrayal had shocked them all, but it had also united them. Now they stood with Zara. For the first time, they believed in her. Alex stood beside her, wrapping an old cloth around his arm. He wasn't a soldier anymore, but his eyes still carried the fire of one. You sure about this? He asked. They won't stop unless we stop them first, Zara said. They want silence. We'll give them truth instead. She had sent the copied file across every rebel network. Messages were sent to distant planets, old allies, and even neutral systems. The truth was out there now. But it came with a price. High Command had responded fast. A large military force was already heading their way. And at the front of it was Commander Rail, Zara's former leader. The one who had ordered her betrayal. The one who wanted her dead more than anyone. Will the rebels hold? Alex asked. They have no choice, Zara said. This time, we all fight. Together. By nightfall, ships filled the sky. Red lights blinked across the horizon. Troop carriers, drones, and tanks dropped from above. The ground shook. The sound was like thunder rolling through stone. Rebels rushed to their posts. Zara put on her armor piece by piece. It was old, scratched, and cracked, but it still fit. Alex picked up a rifle, his fingers steady even after so long. As the first wave approached, Zara climbed a large rock and raised her voice. They called us weak. They called us broken. They said we were nothing but dirt beneath their boots. But today, we show them that we are still standing. We fight not for power, but for truth. The rebels roared in answer. And then the battle began. The first attack came fast. Drones shot down from the sky. Rebels fired back, taking out as many as they could. Explosions lit up the camp. Smoke rose like black rivers into the air. Zara fought at the front. She moved with speed and power, leading from the front like a true warrior. She knocked enemy soldiers down one by one. Her blade flashed like silver lightning. Alex stayed close to her, covering her from behind. He took careful shots, protecting her flank. They moved as a team, silent, focused, deadly. But the enemy was large. Too large. After an hour, rebels started falling back. Their defenses cracked. One tower exploded in flames. A group of alien soldiers was pinned down near the edge of the camp. "We're losing ground." Someone shouted. "We need to break their line," Zara said. "Cut their command off." Alex pointed toward a tall transport at the center of the key. "Battlefield. That's where Rail is. If we take him out, maybe we can end this." Zara nodded. "Then we go." They moved quickly, using smoke and fire as cover. Zara sprinted through chaos, her mind focused only on one thing: ending the one who betrayed her. Alex followed, taking down guards with clean shots. They reached the transport, slipping inside. It was quiet, too quiet. Then the doors shut behind them. A slow clap echoed through the dark hall. Zara's heart tightened. She knew that sound. Rail stepped forward, wearing black armor with red stripes. His face hadn't aged, but his eyes were cold. "Zara," he said calmly, "I always knew you'd survive. That's why I had to make sure you were forgotten." "You failed," she said. "I protected our people," he replied. "You were just the cost. You don't get to decide who lives or dies." Rail smiled. "I already did." He reached for his weapon. But Zara was faster. She charged, her blade slicing through the air. Rail blocked, and the fight began. It was hard. He was strong. But Zara fought not for herself, she fought for every voice that had been silenced. Alex joined in, helping her corner Rail. A final strike hit his side. He fell to the ground, coughing, defeated. Zara stood over him. "This is for the truth." She hit a button on his belt, opening a live transmission across the battlefield. Rail's voice came through, begging, admitting, confessing everything. Soldiers stopped. Guns lowered. The battle froze. The war had ended not with a scream, but with a truth too big to ignore. United, we stand. The battlefield was silent. Smoke curled through the air like slow-moving ghosts. Weapons hung in soldiers' hands, but no one fired. Everyone had heard Rail's confession. His voice, once full of control, had broken in front of the galaxy. His lies were exposed. His crimes could no longer be denied. Zara stood in the center of it all, her armor scratched and her face marked by dust and sweat. She had just defeated the man who tried to erase her. But this didn't feel like victory. Not yet. Alex stood beside her, rifle lowered, breathing hard. He glanced around at the human soldiers, some confused, some ashamed, some just stunned. The rebel fighters stood ready, waiting for orders. For a moment, no one moved. Then one of the human lieutenants stepped forward. He looked young, his helmet tucked under his arm, his face pale. "What now?" he asked quietly. "Are we still enemies?" Zara looked him in the eyes. "You were following orders. I was punished for disobeying them. But today, you have a choice." Alex added, "You don't have to fight this war anymore. It was built on lies." The young man looked down, then slowly dropped his weapon. One by one, others followed. Soldiers from both sides began lowering their arms. Some helped the wounded. Some looked around, unsure what to feel. It wasn't peace. But it was the beginning of something. Later that day, the rebel camp gathered for a meeting. Not just aliens this time, humans too. It was the first time these two sides sat together, not in hate, but in hope. Varn stood before them all. His voice, deep and clear, echoed through the camp. "Zara and Alex showed us something greater than revenge. They showed us what it means to fight for truth. We were taught to fear each other. But what if we were wrong? What if the real enemy was the fear itself? The crowd was silent. Then Alex stepped forward. I gave up everything the day I stood. Between Zara and that execution blade, I was called a traitor. But now, I ask you, if doing the right thing makes me a traitor, then maybe this world needs more of them. There was a soft ripple of clapping, then louder. Then the entire camp was filled with the sound of hands and voices rising together. Zara took a breath. She never wanted to be a symbol. But now she realized people needed one. And maybe she could carry that weight. After the meeting, Zara and Alex sat alone on a hill above the camp. The stars looked brighter than before. You changed their minds, Alex said. Zara shook her head. No, you did. He smiled slightly. We did. There was a long pause. Zara looked at him. They will still come. Others in power. Other leaders who want to silence voices like mine. Like yours. I know, he said. But now we're not alone. From that day, something new was born. A group of humans and aliens who refused to fight for lies. They called themselves the Free Pact. Soldiers, rebels, workers, anyone who believed in truth could join. Zara became their shield. Alex became their voice, and together they prepared not for war, but for a future where war might not be the only answer. The galaxy didn't change overnight, but for the first time, it had a reason to believe it could. Traitors no more. The galaxy had always remembered Zara as a traitor. The name Zara of Drexen was whispered with fear or hate. Soldiers were told she had betrayed her own kind. Leaders said she had joined with the humans. But now, those lies were breaking like glass. Under truth. It started slowly, one message at a time. A human worker on a mining planet posted a recording of Zara saving a rebel child. A Drexen pilot shared her testimony online, claiming Zara once spared his crew during war. The stories kept coming. Truth began to move faster than fear. Still, not everyone believed. Some powerful voices were louder. They called the Free Pact a terrorist group. They said Zara and Alex were dangerous. They warned that peace with the other species would destroy tradition. But for every voice of hate, there was now one voice of hope. In a small broadcasting station orbiting a neutral moon, Zara and Alex stood side by side. They had been invited to speak live across hundreds of systems. It was risky. It could turn people against them. But hiding was no longer an option. Zara looked into the camera. Her voice was calm and sure. I was called a traitor. I was nearly killed for telling the truth. I was blamed for crimes I did not commit, but I am still here, and I'm not alone. She turned slightly toward Alex, who stepped forward. Zara saved me from my own silence, Alex said. I served orders. I stayed quiet when I knew something was wrong. That ended the day I stood up for her. Now I stand for anyone who refuses to follow lies. Their speech spread quickly. Some stations refused to air it. Others replayed it for hours. People began to question what they'd always believed. Soldiers laid down weapons. Civilians wore symbols of the Free Pact on their jackets. The movement was no longer small, but it came at a cost. One evening, Zara and Alex were ambushed. A group of masked fighters attacked them while they traveled through a border colony. It wasn't a battle, it was an execution attempt. Zara fought. With every breath, Alex shielded her through fire. In the end, they survived, but barely. Alex was injured. Zara carried him out, blood on her hands, fire behind her. As they lay in hiding, waiting for help, Alex whispered, "You should have let me fall." Zara shook her head. "You carried me first. I won't forget that." After they recovered, a message came from an unexpected place, the Galactic Assembly. The same government that once labeled Zara a criminal now wanted to speak with her. Alex narrowed his eyes. "Do you trust them?" No, Zara replied, but I want the galaxy to hear us speak, even if they tried to shut us down. The assembly meeting was watched by billions. Zara walked into the chamber with her head held high. Whispers filled the air. Some called her brave, others still said traitor. She stood at the center and said only one thing: truth doesn't care who's afraid of it, but people do. She placed the final piece of evidence before them, the full chain of orders from high command, showing the plan to blame her and silence dissent. There was no more denying it. One by one, assembly members stood in silence. Some lowered their eyes. Others clapped slowly. A vote was taken. Not only was Zara cleared of all charges, she was named a Defender of Unity, a rare title given to those who risk everything for peace between species. Alex, still limping from his wounds, stood next. To her, he smiled and whispered, "Traitor, no more." Zara looked out at the galaxy. "No," she said, "not traitors. Just the first ones to say no more lies." From that day forward, the galaxy remembered them not as enemies, but as the spark of change. Zara of Drexen, Alex of Earth, two names that once meant danger. Now they meant something else: hope.